So everybody, good morning. Welcome back to the farm. Today we're going to talk about and look at putting up a grain bin. Let's walk over. So we have purchased an 8.5 ton hopper bottom feed bin that, we're a small operation, so we bucket feed. We don't use a big mixer or anything like that, at least not at this point. But presently, we buy our feed in a 2,000 pound bag. And when the bag's full, it's pretty easy to get feed out of, but as it gets empty, it's a real pain in the neck. So we have purchased this 8.5 ton bin that we've got to get stood up. It won't work this way. And what'll happen once we get it stood up, there will wind up being a slide gate that gets attached down here at the bottom so that we can draw feed out at the bottom of the bin into our buckets. Once upon a time, we used to have some gravity wagons that we did this with, and the nuisance thing about them was keeping them covered up. And even when they were covered up, more than once we came in and a family of raccoons would jump out of the wagons as we were trying to get in, which you know what they did inside. They didn't just eat inside the wagon. They did other stuff too. So anyway, this is a much better solution, is going to a bin. And we're gonna try to get this prepped. Josh will go back and play you some video of a few days ago where we started cutting, but we're gonna build it and we're gonna stand it up right here at the back of our shop next to this fuel tank. We moved a bunch of stuff here, built a stand for our fuel tank that's ethanol free fuel that we run in our small engines. And where you can see these holes cut out, we're gonna finish breaking that concrete out. We're gonna pour piers to get that bin up just a little bit higher off the ground than what it sits. It really would probably fit a bucket just like it is, but I just want a little bit more clearance. And so we're gonna wind up raising it up about 6 to 8 inches off of this concrete when it's all said and done. That's where we wanna get to. And so we're gonna do that. A little bit afraid to just sit 8.5 tons on a 4-inch concrete slab. So we're gonna dig some pier holes here and bring them back up and have a square top that the bin legs actually sit on. And then the other thing we're gonna be setting up is everything we do here on the farm is an extremely slow process. If you watch our other channel, we are general contractors and everybody else takes precedent over what we're doing, which is the way I think it should be. But we started working on a building to go right back here, I don't know, several months ago. And we're really just now getting around to, we're gonna start digging our pier holes for it. And so I'm hoping that we can wind up pouring part of these piers and the bin piers all at the same time. So we've got part of this thing squared and laid out. We've got to finish that up and dig these holes, but I'm hoping that I can get a bunch of these holes dug today as well as that section over there set up. And that way, here in a couple days, we'll actually be able to pour about 10 yards of concrete and get that much of it done. But the building here, the purpose of it is to get our cattle handling inside. And then our little girl is in 4-H, gonna be showing some sheep and eventually showing some cattle. And so we'll have some indoor stock pens as well as a little bit of equipment storage, but it's gonna be a 50 by 80. And probably about the first nearly 50 feet of it is just gonna be for livestock, so about 50 by 50. And then we'll have about 30 feet here on the end that we'll be able to put some equipment in. Our hope is to get it to where that our feed tractor and stuff that we're using during the winter is actually not in the shop. And that way, during the winter, we try to service equipment, but it gets to be a real pain because we're having to always move something out of the way to be able to do that. And so we're hoping we can kind of get the shop emptied out a little bit and make it so that we've got space in there for working on that equipment and getting it ready for the spring. So bear with us. We're gonna break some more concrete and try to get this thing ready to go. Okay, so what you've been seeing, I've augured these holes into these squares behind me that I had cut out, and I just sweep the dirt back into the hole so it's easier to clean up. Instead of having to shovel all that dirt out of the way, we're able to move it with the auger. And of course, I've made this really, really lovely dirt pile here that I'll go back and clean up hopefully this afternoon. But bottom line, get it cleaned up before the rain comes in next week. So the next thing is we're gonna build these form boxes on top of each of these squares, because we're gonna wind up with a 24 by 24 inch pad that we'll anchor the bin to. And that's what we're doing next. So all I've done is just put a little bit of rebar in each one of these. No signs to it, but just trying to give it a little bit of extra strength to kind of hold this big slab that I'm pouring across the top together. I'd originally planned on doing 2 individual piers, and I got looking at it, that little bit extra in the middle, I'm just gonna pour it full. It saves a little bit of forming, saves a little bit of time, and just gonna shoot all of that completely full. So got it chalked out and leveled. Gonna clean out some of these other post holes just a little bit, and should have concrete very shortly. Fill this hole up and then we'll shove it all. Now, can you see that chalk line? We got to go to the top back here, but the concrete's running downhill, so it's going to run taper on the board. Got this little jagged concrete poured out here. Poured, gosh, all but like 6 of the piers back in the back for the other building. And next thing we'll do back there is where the cattle handling equipment goes. We'll actually go on and pour the floor. All of the area that we'll have livestock in will have concrete grooved in it. So we'll actually form up on top of those piers, not only for our post bases, but also for our floor, and we'll just pour all that, catch those other few piers at that same time. And when it's really just like me and one person helping, we're not gonna pour much concrete at once, so we'll pour out one small square, hopefully just where the handling equipment sits, get it put back in place, and then we'll eventually work on pouring the rest of it across there. So no big rush on that. It takes me a long time to get anything done. So we'll catch you back up, and we're going to stand this grain bin up here in the next couple of days. All right, so today is the big day. If you've been, well, you have been watching along because it's all the same video. But we've gotten the concrete poured, we've gotten some stuff together so that we can finally get this grain bin up. So we're gonna stand this grain bin up in a few minutes. Josh has been on vacation somewhere, I don't know, but anyway, lots more got done while he was gone, just to be honest. But he's back now and things will slow down. And so he's currently eating. And so when he gets done eating,
I'm on vacation. I'm still in vacation mode. He's talking about doing all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. These chips are pretty good.
Yeah, it's kind of permanent. And so we're gonna go out back, and we're gonna try to stand this grain bin up on our concrete foundation that you saw us pour earlier in this video. So hopefully it's gonna go good, and we'll get this thing up and get some feed in it this afternoon. That's what I said. I got more done when you weren't here than when you are here.
And it costed you less as well.
That's right. It's just like an all-around win.
Cost effective.
All right, so Josh,
Yeah.
you got it right. You remember how we chained this thing the other day? It's kind of, I think it's pretty sketchy the way that this is done, but we did what the guy that sells these grain bins all the time says. So remove this thing over there close by, get the skid steer repositioned, get it really into place, and see what happens.
All right, here we go.
You'll have to hook my bucket when I get over there. I've got this on.
All right. Oh, there's the bucket. I'm gonna end up having to set this thing down because this is a 4-person job and we got 2 of us. We kind of get some chain on the top leg there and like tension it, and then he gets the bucket in there in the bottom leg, and it's all kinds of like crazy stuff. It's a good time. He's gonna come around here with the skid steer, and we're gonna see if we can lift it up. One thing we were worried about was the ridges on it. How
you
those.
Make that lid shut.
There you go. We bent the holy crap out of the lid bar. We were interested on how the ridges are going to react with the bucket. The guy says that it should just scoot down, but we are going to see, certainly.
Does that have me straighter? I don't mean looking at it this way, I mean on the concrete.
I'm trying, yeah, it does. There was quite a bit of water in it.
Hey Josh?
Yeah!
This thing may have to slide back this way some more still.
I don't, looking at it right here, I don't think so. I mean, it'll be close, but that's gonna go like right about to there.
Right, there went a ring and I can't see what's going on, so come here.
What kind of ring?
Well, that was the bucket skipping down a ring in the corrugated.
Oh, was it? All right.
Yeah.
Man, it sucks because you're right on these little bolts. There's a bunch of nuts right where you're trying to go down at. I'm gonna get the fuck back.
Man, dude, I think we're...
Holy cow.
We gotta put a tape on that.
Let me ask you this. Do you want to try to secure it to the bucket? Well, we can't. We're kind of screwed. I'm afraid when this thing gets to its tipping point, it might try to go that way a little bit, and I don't want it to
try to go over.
I don't want it to slam into the side of the building.
There's something up there we can change if we could. We gotta leave it somewhat loose.
Right.
So when we get a ladder and climb up there.
Yeah. I just don't want it to try to go that way, and then we slam this.
It's going.
Right, right.
I don't think it's just gonna hit those legs and say, I'm done.
No. You know what I'm saying? It's just really gonna suck if we put a couple of holes inside the building.
Well, I haven't put any holes, but I can see a dent somewhere in the one I put in that
Well, I
door.
mean, if that hits it right there good enough, it might just pop it. But
Bam.
unless you just won't try it.
Just don't really know what to chain to.
That's the trouble with it. I guess we can just see how it goes.
What if we just put you on a ladder in between the bin and the building and you just catch it?
Alright.
I'm kind of thinking that's probably
Alright then.
the better idea.
I like that idea. But we gotta lean the ladder up against the actual bin, not against the building.
We'll just tie 2 ladders together, like a step ladder,
Yeah.
2 extension ladders, and
Yes.
you just catch it.
Because if I push against the building and use my legs to push against the grain bin, I think I'd be strong enough to like make it stop moving.
Absolutely perfect. I agree. I think
He's
that's
calling
probably the
me
way to
right
go.
now.
Don't even look at that.
Huh?
Don't even look at that phone.
Why?
Just don't do it.
Somebody's calling me. I gotta figure out who it is. Oh my God! This is a bunch of crap. Oh my God. Well, here we go. Absolutely love it. I looked at the phone.
I'm not loving it at all.
Good for them. Oh, Jesus. He scooted it. Well, y'all can see a little bit better how we bent the crap out of the pipe now. We'll get back a couple more feet, because if this thing comes clear there, it's gonna fall.
Josh, I can't see up at the top. Nothing.
You're good right now. You've got the bucket in a position where you're kind of going against the ridges now. Oh, here he goes. That's Superman right there. You were a lot closer to it when
I
it
didn't realize how
went.
close it was to the tipping point, but that's close.
You were a lot closer to it when it tipped than I really wanted to be. Because if one of them legs kicked out off that thing, I was gonna take off in this field over here.
I'd be okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
See it now. It's gonna tip over. Leg was gonna come flying off. The chicken.
That thing's way on up there, dude.
I know it is. It is pretty tall.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think that is?
Well, no, that's my gable right there is 18 feet.
Is it?
Yeah, so
Wow.
the main part of the shop's 18 feet, so we're 18, 19 feet high, I guess.
That's pretty crazy.
We're gonna have to figure out some way to save and straighten this gosh dang it mess out.
Yeah.
Why did you do that, man?
Hey, that
I'm
was
totally-
all you. You
No,
didn't have a hold of
I
it.
told you, I said I can't see.
Yeah,
have to watch
and you
what
didn't
I'm
have a
doing.
hold of it until you started doing crazy things and you were backing out. And now it's bent like freaking crazy. Bent it into a circle. Well, there is a project that is mostly complete. Now we just got to get it bolted in.
Let's go anchor this dude.
The sketchy part's done up, so
We're
fantastic.
and hey, so everybody out there in YouTube land, we are going to double check because we lasered all of our concrete in. And so I am going to kind of double check it with just an old school level. Just kind of see if we're close. If we're pretty close, probably not gonna mess with it. If we're off a little bit, probably throw some washers in there or something to shim it. And we're gonna put some anchor bolts in, get this thing fastened down, and they're supposed to bring us feed this afternoon.
Nice.
cut. Okay, so the bin is up. The bin has feed in it. We're gonna try the inaugural bucket of feed. Let's see. And there you have it. Pretty handy. Lots better than bags or scooping out of a gigantic bag. So I hope you've enjoyed the video about setting up a grain bin.